I had a little project in mind, but I didn't quite have the pattern that I was looking for, so I made one. Well, technically I didn't make it, I just modified a pattern I already had. But before we get to that, let me show you what kicked off this whole project. I wanted to make a bag that had a panel comprised of small squares that I quilted together using this Halloween fabric. So first I made strips, then I turned those strips into squares, and then those squares into a panel. Well, let's back up. It really started because I wanted to use the blanket stitch on my machine. But at this point, I'm like, what did I get myself into? I'm not a quilter, but thankfully my mom is, so she gave me some advice. Just look at those blanket stitches. See why I wanted to use them? This was my first attempt. Not pretty. So from here, I decided to use the first panel I made, not the last one with perfect stitches. Okay, so let's get back on track. So I had this pattern, I wanted to modify it, and I decided to cut 3 inches off of the top and see what happens. I'm not the best at math, so somewhere along the way, the gusset ended up being too long. No problem, we just cut that right off and modify the pattern so we don't forget for next time. Then, since I really don't know what I'm doing, I grabbed a vintage mixing bowl from the 1900s and used it to round those corners. I just lined it up from the center and made it end where I thought it looked good on the sides, and I think it worked out just fine. Only do it to one side. So from there I realized that my quilted piece was going to be too small, so I had to make some black panels for the side and the top, but I didn't film that because, let's be honest, I'd rather always be sewing than filming content, but it was here that I realized this was coming together and looking exactly how I pictured, so we just forged forward. This foam can be a little cumbersome to work with, but I just try to sew slowly and take my time, and before you know it, we're at the birthing part. As you can probably tell by all the faces I'm making, this part is stressful. I never know if I left the hole at the bottom of the lining big enough to fit the whole bag through, but somehow what seems like takes forever is finally over, and I can tell that everything is just fine. Then the only thing left is top stitching. Now, during the top stitching is when I realized I probably need an industrial machine. My Janome Skyline 6 is a beast, but she's not happy about these thick corner seams. Well, we made it. What do you think? Would you modify a pattern like this? I'm happy I gave it a try and it came out exactly how I pictured. Whoa.